Look, today we're going to learn about volume, but for a rectangular prism. Now we actually have the same formula that we did with cubes. Remember that cubes are just a type of rectangular prism, just like squares are a type of rectangles. So they kind of have to use the same formula. So again, it's kind of just being practiced today, but we're going to do some word problems as well. So look at this. Volume equals length times width times height. We know that. So when I look at this, remember I'm always trying to figure out my length, width, and height. So when I look, what is my length? Looks like 12 centimeters long. It's 8 centimeters wide. And how tall is it? The height is 4. So what do? I'm just going to plug it in, right? 12 times 8 times 4. And I just multiply that all out. So what do we get? 12 times 8 times 4. 384 what though? Centimeters cubed. Remember, it's a volume, 3D figure, so it goes to the third power. Okay. Now, I think we have a pretty good understanding of what to do when we see the numbers 100% there. We see the figure, right? Like for this one, I don't even have to tell you the length, width, and height. You just know that you have your 3 numbers and you should multiply. So it will be 16 times 8 times 2. If I multiply that out, $256 meters. Look at this one. Length is 18, width is 13, height is 6. I plug it into my formula. 18 times 13 times 6. Whoop. 1,404 millimeters cubed. I think we have a pretty good understanding of when it's just regular problems. So I'm going to work on some word problems today. Let's look at this. It's not as hard as you think. Sometimes we just got to plug in the numbers and use train tracks. A drawer is 5 feet wide, 4 feet deep, and 2 feet tall. What is the volume of the drawer? It gives me my width, depth, and height. Now, they might be a little different than what we use, like length, width, and height. When I see width, depth, we could consider that as our length as well. So it's kind of interchangeable. There's length, width, and depth. Height, you know how tall something is, generally is either called tall or height. Regardless, we know volume is to multiply all 3 numbers, if that's what's given, because we know our width, depth, and height. So we multiply it and we get 40 feet cubed. Let's look at this one. A block is 2 inches wide, 3 inches long, and 2 inches tall. What is the volume of the tower that is built by 3 blocks? What does that mean? Well, let's figure out what the volume is first. And what do we say? Volume, we multiply the 3 numbers, the length, width, and height. That's what we have. And if we multiply that, we would get 12 inches cubed. Now it says we're going to build it by 3 blocks. So how many 3 blocks would fit in a 12 block? Kind of think of it like a Rubik's Cube, okay? How many pieces are inside or make up the volume? If you thought of dividing, you're correct. Let's say it's, again, we have our total volume. We're going to divide it by 3. What do we get? 4. So there should be 4 blocks within the volume. Let's look at number 5. The closet is 5 feet wide, 5 feet deep, and 8 feet tall. In the closet, there's also a suitcase that is 2 feet wide, 3 feet long, and 4 feet tall. How much room is left in the closet? Okay, so we have a big closet, and then there's a suitcase inside of it. So let's figure out the length, width, and height of the closet. So I'm going to put volume, and I'm going to put closet. V closet. And what's the volume of the closet? We got our width, depth, and height. 6 times 5 times 8. So the volume of the closet equals 6 times 5 times 8, 240 feet cubed. Now we have a suitcase. Let's find the volume of the suitcase. I'll just put V suit. And how big is that suitcase? We figure out it's 2 feet wide, 3 feet long, and 4 feet tall. And if we multiply that out, 2 times 3 is 6, 6 times 4, 24 feet cubed. All right. Now it says how much room is left in the closet. So what operation do we have to do with these two numbers? How much is left over? If you said subtraction, that's correct, because I'm taking the volume of the closet minus the volume of the suitcase. And we have 240 minus 24. And we get 216 feet cubed. So that's how much room is left over. Okay, so we can fit another 216 feet cubed amount of your clothes, shoes, or whatever into the closet. Let's try another problem. This one's going to be a little tricky. Layla wants to build a wooden box with a volume of 45 cubic centimeters. So we already know the volume. She started with a width of 3 centimeters and height of 3 centimeters. How long should Layla make the box? Okay, this is a little different. Do I just multiply these 3 numbers? Or do I have to do something else? Well, if you said something else, you're right. Because again, I have the equation, and just like what we've been doing before, I'm going to plug in what I know. Most of the time, we were trying to find volume. So you left V as V. But this time, we know the volume, and it's 45. Do we know the length? No. So I'm just going to keep it L. Do I know the width? Yeah, 3. How about the height? Yeah, I know that too, 3. So now that we have all the variables filled in to our best of our ability, we're going to try to solve for the variable. And remember, to solve for a variable, we have to simplify everything as much as we can first before we move numbers around. So 45, nothing to simplify, so just bring it down. I don't know what L is, so just bring it down. But I do know what 3 times 3 is. That will give us 9. Now, we have this. 45 equals length times 9. Now, you could guess, say, I don't know, 3 times 9 equals 45. 5 times 9 equals 45. And so forth. We could do that. We could guess and check. But because we're in middle school, we know we can use train tracks. So we have to get the L by itself. In order to do that, I'm going to do what? I'm going to get rid of this times 9 by doing the opposite. So I'm going to divide by 9. And whatever I do to one side, I have to do the other. So now we have 45 divided by 9. Length times 9 divided by 9. These cancels out. Because we're doing the opposite, it cancels out. 45 divided by 9 equals 5. So 5 is our length. So how long should Layla make the box? 5 centimeters. Okay? So we might see some problems like this, where we have the volume and we're solving for something else. And that's what we're going to be working on today. We have the volume, we have our 3 visual problems, and I want you to solve for 3 word problems. That's it. Okay? Remember, the word problems, it might get a little tricky. Remember to look at your equation, fill in what you know. Some of them might you need to add the volumes, subtract the volumes, multiply by something else. But I want you to check it out.